Gene, is there such a thing as overexposure? I know Mr. Trump, I know.
It doesn't exist.
So you're saying it doesn't matter, put it as much things, talk about it, because people say, they came to me, I said, I'm having Gene Simmons. They say he's an egotistical,
That's true.
over the top,
That's true.
money grubbing,
That's true.
good looking.
That's true.
Well, then we could just stop this conversation then.
The only question I have is, how jealous are they? The higher you go in life and the more self-made success you have, the more there will be pundits on the sidelines who take whacks at you. How come you don't pick on the guy who didn't earn anything and won the lottery and earned $100 million? Everybody says,
the one who's
wow,
waiting for his bailout check, who's waiting for you to pay his taxes to bail him out because it's more profitable to stay at home. Doesn't that eat you alive?
That's another issue, but I was just making the point that the people who are self-made and filthy rich should be admired instead of taking whacks at them. I'm talking about myself as well. I earned every single dollar, never borrowed money, never went on unemployment or did any of that stuff. I don't want it. I don't want anybody. I will get my own job. If I have to wash dishes, I've done the same thing that everybody, oh, you never did that. Yes, I did, bitch. I cleaned floors. I cleaned toilets. I did anything I had to do, and every time and every place, I scrubbed the fat off of a butcher's block and carried chicken heads off so that they can be made into soup. I did all kinds of stuff, and every step of the way, I put my passion and commitment to that and thanked my employer for giving me the opportunity to bring home some money. And I'd give my mother the money, of course. But the main thing is, within a week or two, I'd get a promotion. Here's another $5, kid. You're a good kid. I'd show up 5 minutes early every day and leave an hour after. Never ask for double time, overtime. Communist, socialist prick. Get rid of these people. Don't give them double time, overtime. They should be thanking you for having a job.
Have you instilled the same notion into your kids? I mean, they seem really great on TV, but
Absolutely.
Because a lot of their friends probably, I mean, especially where you live, there's not that same type of parenting going on. A lot of things are given to the kids, the cars, and so I see a difference. I've seen, I saw some other reality shows where it broke off the family, and I've seen the kids grow very appreciative. And so, I mean, the TV is only small snippets.
Well, you've hit on a few important points. Thank you for the kind words. Neither Nick or Sophie has ever had an allowance. And here's why. Because once you leave mom's bosom and go out into the world and start your own family, your hand's going to go out and say, where's my allowance? That's not the way life works. You never get anything for free, but while you're at home, here's some money and, we'll get you a weekly allowance. Who started that? What moron did that? The whole Spockian notion of negotiating with kids is lunacy at its best. You are training a generation of young people who are going to feel they're entitled to argue about any point. And in life, it doesn't work like that. And so I have 3 rules. Here's why my kids will never negotiate or try to do anything but listen to mom and dad. 1 is there are no repercussions for any mistakes they make. They crash the car, they do this, we're going to pay the bills. 2, there are no life experiences that they could sort of refer to and say, life has taught me the following, and so I'm qualified to make this decision because they're not. They're unqualified. They're just learning to wipe their butt. Number 3, I'm much bigger than you are. You'll do as I say. I'm sick and tired of watching television shows, All in the Family, and the Family Men, all these family shows where everybody laughs, and the kid rolls its eyes because mom and dad are so lame, and runs upstairs and slams the door to their room and blasts the record thing. Well, here's a wake-up call. Number 1, the door you slammed is mine. That room is mine. The poop you poop when you go to the bathroom is also mine. I bought the food that put the poop in your mouth. The air you breathe, you don't exist except for me. Until you're ready to go out on your own and earn your own living and never call on me again, can I have a buck, Dad? Until that time, you'll do as I say. It's simple.
I want to talk about the Gene Simmons business, your empire you built. We've learned about Kiss. We know all the brands. But are you working on other things? And how do you manage all of that? Because a lot of people say he's just a guy at a guitar with a great tongue. But you are, and everyone I've talked to who inside your inner circle says you are one of the smartest businessmen they know. And I think maybe because you like it straight to the point. There's no BS, and you know what people want. So talk about the Gene Simmons empire. Not necessarily Kiss, but the other things you're working on. I like that car wash thing with the ladies.
Yeah, but that's small. Let me tell you about an entity called CoolSpringsLife.com. You can look it up.
CoolSpringsLife.com.
We are an entity that loans as much as $300 million to high net worth individuals. You have to be worth at least $20 million. And we will loan you that money at flat LIBOR plus. In other words, it'll be LIBOR, by the way, is the London International Banking Rates,
He knows his stuff.
Banks loan each other trillions, billions overnight. And so LIBOR, as of this day, is under 1%, 100 basis points. It could be, I don't know, 40 basis points, something like that. But you'll look it up. So there are a few banking fees, but we can loan people the cheapest money. And then the arbitrage, the difference between the money that they borrow and what they can get in the marketplace, is theirs to keep. Nobody touches that. We don't have in fact, we never touch the money. So, and the reason, and our partners, the founding members, there are 6 of them, a gentleman by the name of Dave Carpenter, who was the CEO of Transamerica, the juggernaut of insurance in America for 16 years. We have a Mr. Baitler, who was the COO of Transamerica and was there for 20 years. Very A-level, high-end people.
Do you have any involvement in the business decision, the marketing, or you just put the quality people and let them do their thing, kind of like Warren Buffett? Or
No.
are you hands-on?
Hands-on. Variety has just come on for the first time in their 158-year history and allowed us to brand the charity portions of it, because we're going to make sure that charities get a chance to maximize, the potential, because ultimately it's for a good cause. I believe that the rich in this country, the self-made rich, are being mistreated and abused by the masses just aren't aware of it. They can't fathom stuff, so naturally the rich are bad. The truth is that whether you're Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, these billionaires who are worth $40, $50 billion are giving as much as half to all of it right to charity.
Are you going to give it?
Absolutely. I'll save enough to stuff my carcass so I can take it with me, but the rest can go to everybody else.
Kiss coffin, and I've seen one of those.
It just, second generation just came in.
Yes.
The Kiss casket, it's to die for.
Love it.
Yeah, people want them, dead or alive.
How about Kiss money?
Sorry?
Kiss lending. Kiss bank. Kiss currency, yeah.
Well, structure is everything, but the way I believe in minimizing overhead so you can maximize profit. And so if you take a look at it, and this is a good mantra for almost all businesses, it depends on whether or not your workload is heavy, whether or not you actually need a lot of people on the ground. But if you take a look at most businesses, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. There are all sorts of business meetings where people just try to inform each other what they're doing. And if you take a look at the military model, let me give you for instance. There's a destroyer, the enemy, up ahead. It's a mile up ahead. So naturally the submarines and the radar and the Air Force and all these guys in the military are aware it's there. So you're going to attack it from all fronts, land, sea, air, and you will sink that destroyer, guaranteed. Of course, it's going to be enormous manpower, enormous cost. There'll be damages and people will die and all sorts of things. Or you can send one Navy SEAL. You don't know if people catch you. You don't know what his plans are. He's not going to answer to anybody. His mandate is to sink that ship one way or the other. So the most qualified of all qualified military become Navy SEALs. They don't tell you where they're going, what they're doing. Their mandate is to sink that ship. One guy, and unfortunately the bad guys learned this lesson too, with enough bombs strapped on him, under the radar, can get the job done. And big business in America has to learn how to downsize. Government
has to learn how to downsize.
Government has to get out of our business and just govern and not try to be business people. Because these people have done nothing except teach at Berkeley. So that's what you want.
And never run a business.
Of course not.
I mean, you've run. How many businesses do you own or have an interest in?
More than one. We do well.
And how many KISS licenses are there? Like 1,500, I read somewhere?
3,000.
3,000.
Everything from KISS condoms to KISS caskets. Hold it. We'll get you coming and we'll get you going.
February 10th to the 13th in LA, mega partnering. You are.
I want to say one thing that's important. Even though it's obvious and clear and I stand by it, that I actually love the sound of my own voice.
Clearly.
The best and good looking.
And good looking.
The best speaker, the best entrepreneur, and the best business person in general is somebody who knows how to listen. So even though you're coming there to see how exciting I am and that Gene Simmons, a kiss and all that nonsense, I've done well in business and we continue to get bigger and bigger. The best way for me to communicate with you is to talk some, but then to engage you in conversation. I really want to hear what you have to say, because whether you take the biblical notion of a child shall lead them, or some person who comes in off the street and asks you a very important question, why? That's actually the best question. No matter what your plan is, it's always good to test the walls. My good friend Steven Spielberg, well, it's not my good friend, my friend Steven Spielberg, who's the most successful filmmaker of all time. Every one of his movies has made at least $100 million in America, minimum. Nobody's going to tell him how to make his movie, how to edit it, who should be in it, all on and on and on and on. In fact, he's one of the co-owners of DreamWorks, a movie studio.
It's a great name, by the way. I love that business name.
It is. It's a good brand. Now, here's what this smart genius is, because there are dumb geniuses too. There are book geniuses who are part of Mensa and can't tie their shoelaces. The smart genius is actually bright and can implement the genius. Here's what this genius Steven Spielberg does. After he's done with his movie, he takes his piece of art that he created that nobody told him what to do, and he goes out to Wabash or Ypsilanti, Michigan, and he tests it. He tests it not in front of the most qualified people, but he tests his creation in front of the most unqualified people on planet Earth, who really could give a squat about how films are made. All they tell you is, I like it, I don't like it. And I urge all the people in the big ivory towers, big guys like me, and I've known Donald Trump for a long time. He's very bright.
Very bright.
Gates and Buffett. You know what Buffett does? Buffett is the number 2 richest man in the world. Carlos Slim is number 1, whose son is always emailing my son, but that's another story. And all these guys, whether you're the former, whether you're Sam Walton or the IKEA chairman, these guys understand the value of speaking to people and keep their snoot close to the ground.
Do you read business books? Do you watch business show? Because obviously you have a high business acumen, and
it's relative. High business acumen means you know some stuff. It's impossible.
Do you learn? Have you attended events? Have you read business books?
All the time. But
because people, I think you're misunderstood in the business world. I honestly feel
I'm too rich to care.
Well, there you go. It's too rich to care.
There's no such thing, by the way, as too rich. The other thing is that while it's important to read Wall Street Journal, and we know the editor and publisher and all this kind of stuff, and that's nice, and Bloomberg, the smartest guys and the most well-off guys treat everybody the same, whether you're Buffett or my gardener, number 1, and always listen. Because out of the mouths of the most qualified, but also the most unqualified people, you're going to learn stuff you don't know. And if you're going to be successful in this business world, learn to listen. They will tell you stuff, by the way, for free. Put your ego aside, and you'll be able to use that information to further your business model. You will succeed if you learn how to listen and treat people well. That's the beginning. And on top of that, sprinkle on some, a work ethic, people skills, language skills. Learn how to speak English, for God's sakes. Yeah. I came to this country and couldn't speak a word. My brother Bob was going, you want to talking like this? He goes, learn English. You'll make more money. People don't say that.
And that's why I think you're so successful, because you are willing to do what unsuccessful people won't.
Dress British, think Yiddish.
Well, that I do feel like my staff will tell you I'm very Yiddish. I'm not Jewish, but they think
Yeah, but the point is you keep it to yourself. You don't lead with the dress, think Yiddish. You're American first. So I'm Catholic American, I'm African American. No, you're not. You're American first. Thank the country that gave you the opportunity to even have a voice here. You're American Hispanic, you're American Jewish, you're American everything. Because if whatever you are, if you're in another country, you might wind up in a can of dog food.